one day I remember vividly was when we first got there, when Tanya and I first arrived in Bhutan, ready for day one of the shoot, right? So I was quite nervous because I knew that the Red camera, which is quite a complex bit of machinery, had arrived 2 days earlier. And I knew they'd never seen one or anything vaguely like it. I was quite comfortable that I could drive it, but that wasn't supposed to be my job, you see. So, and I got there and I really didn't know what to expect. Co-producer TD and cinematographer Lecky picked me up, and I hadn't met Lecky before. They said, "Oh, that's terrific, the camera arrived yesterday and we've unpacked the box and we were able to assemble it." And I thought, that's a good start for a feature film, that we start shooting tomorrow, right? So we've ticked that box. So then we got to TD's office, his production office in Thimphu, which is the capital of Bhutan. And we go upstairs, and the back room has got an altar, because every office and home has got an altar in it, like a full-on Buddhist altar, right? And the camera was on the altar, right? And I was thinking it would be much more useful if it was out on the tripod, but no, it was on the altar. So don't worry, the head lama is coming, and he's going to bless us, bless the production, and bless the camera, right? Because as you do, right, the camera has to do its job, so we'd better get it blessed. So he sat on his low kind of throne that was in this room, and we sat there, and somebody translated what I was saying to the lama and so forth, and he asked, what's the film about, and I spoke to him about it, and found myself, explaining that we had, there was no gratuitous violence or sex scenes or anything like that, in fact it was telling a Bhutanese story. And he told us through the translator that he thought that was a very fine thing, and that, he subsequently blessed the film, and away we went. And then the camera, to my relief, came from the altar onto the tripod, and we turned it on pretty much for the first time. It turned out that Lecky knew a lot more than perhaps I thought that he did about the whole process. And very quickly, because of his stills photography background, really all he needed to know is where is this button that does that, or where is that knob that does that. Everything else he was quite comfortable with. So quite quickly we got the process going. But basic lighting techniques that I had just assumed everybody knew, and that I was always the dunce in the class of how these things work, right? They had never come across at all. You've got to imagine a scene where Greg, who can hardly do it himself, is in there delivering a lecture on Rembrandt lighting, sort of, or and so forth. And the guys picked it up. French flags. Everybody watch this. This is a French flag and how it works. And everybody's going, oh. So you'll notice that there are a number of times during the film when you will see effects. I mean, quite deliberate, lighting effects that the team had developed the skill to be able to deliver without any effort. So we were able to do some, what I think are reasonably sophisticated techniques. One scene that I remember that really demonstrated, and this was towards the end of the shoot, when we shot the bus scene where Teenage Kunpan's on his way into the big smoke with the other men from the archery team. Now, we just put the bus in a warehouse and turned all the lights off. We had a couple of LED lights and a French flag with a sort of a 1K or something outside the bus, and we had somebody on the roof sort of jumping on the bus, and the lights were being moved around by the guys, and we got quite a respectable, believable look in that bus. that with a combination of I mean, simple techniques that you know, I guess anybody learns at film school, but it was the first time these guys had ever done that. Now, for me, that was one of the highlights of that, is that I feel that whatever happens with Arrows of the Thunder Dragon, there is a group of young filmmakers there, passionate filmmakers, young men and women who are going to be talking about Rembrandt lighting and French flags is going to go down in the history of Bhutanese cinema. You know, and I remember the day when they started. So that to me is it's a very important part of the process, you know.